Hey, small business people and lovers of good stories in general. Welcome to episode 42 of Small Business War Stories. We are getting close to wrapping up the first Soul of America tour, but I have good news. There is another Soul of America tour coming up that has been completed, where I drove from Austin, Texas, all the way up to Bozeman, Montana, and back down through the Rockies and interviewed lots of really different cool businesses. And this is one of the last ones from the last tour where I went from Austin to Saginaw, Michigan, back down through. And this one, this interview today is with Jeff Pearson, and it took place in Lafayette, Louisiana. And I don't know if you've ever been to Lafayette, Louisiana. I was there a long time ago for a Cajun festival. It's a very, very interesting and unique place. And it's definitely a place that you have to check out if you're ever in Louisiana. It's got a very, very unique character to it. But this episode is a part of the Soul of America tour. Well, before I go into this, by the way, Jeff is a fascinating guy. He's a very good-looking fellow who is a model, as well as a stunt driver, as well as owning a video game store. And he's got lots of interesting stories. We kind of talk about what it's like to learn how to do stunts in cars and all kinds of stuff. So this is a great episode. Great fellow, Jeff Pearson in Lafayette, Louisiana. But this episode is a part of the Soul of America tour, and it's brought to you by Tecovas Boots. Tecovas Boots are awesome. I wore them every day of the tour, and I got a lot of compliments. They're very comfortable. They're very good looking. And you should check them out. It's Tecovas, TECOVAS.com. I have the bourbon ropers, and I would recommend you check them out. The Soul of America tour is also brought to you by Impact Crates. Impact Crates are strong, safe, and secure, and it's the crates that I use for my puppy Muddy Waggers to travel in as we were going around the country. And I highly recommend that if you're going to be doing long distances with your dog, that you put them in a crate, because then they will be safe. If you go to Impact Crates and you see something you like, which you probably will, you can use code MUDDY20, MUDDY20, to get a 20% off discount on Impact Crates. And the Soul of America tour is also brought to you by Badger Mapping. Badger Mapping is a mapping software. If you have a sales organization, or if you're a salesperson, or if you have customers you have to go visit in person, you have to get Badger Mapping. It teaches you the best way to go from place to place, the most efficient way. I use it during the Soul of America tour to figure out over 4,000 miles how to map my route. But you can use it in your own city, and depending on what you need to do every day. Definitely check them out. If you mention that you found out about them on Small Business War Stories, they will give you a discount. So check them out. Badger Mapping. And every episode of the Small Business War Stories podcast is brought to you by Proven. Proven.com is a company I started with my business partner Sean, and it is a small business hiring software tool. So if you ever need to hire, instead of having to go and doing everything and going to a bunch of different job boards, we basically allow you to post to one place, to Proven, and you can distribute your job very widely. Now, there are other people who also do this, but our big thing is we're all about small business. So our interface is very simple. We have a great mobile app, and we are dedicated. We have a dedicated support staff, and we're very, very excited to work with you as a small business. That's who we are. That's what we do. Check it out, Proven.com. There is a free trial, so you owe it to yourself to check it out. Without further ado, let's get into episode 42 of Small Business War Stories with Jeff Pearson in Lafayette, Louisiana. Small Business War Stories. Small businesses are the soul of America. And this is where they tell their stories. I am your host, Pablo Fuentes. And we are live here, and we are in Lafayette, Louisiana, and I'm sitting here today with Jeff Pearson. Welcome to the show, Jeff.
Thank you, man. It's nice to be here.
It's great to be here. I was here too many years ago for the Cajun Festival. So I've gotten a little bit of a taste for what's going on here, and they had all the. It's not too far from here actually. It's right next to the university.
Yeah,
And,
down probably the cage.
Yeah, and there was a stage where the guy was probably about 70 singing some kind of mix between English, Creole, and who knows what. Up on stage, and they had alligator jambalaya, which was delicious, chewy.
Yeah, just like chicken.
Yeah.
Actually.
You eat a lot of alligator, or is that a stereotype?
It's kind of no. I don't think it is a stereotype. I think it just depends. Where in the city. I think the people in the city, they prefer chicken and alligator. But once you get outside the city into like the swamp people, and there are swamp people.
Yeah.
I think they kind of go for the alligator. A little bit
there has to be swamp people because in the drive from Baton Rouge to here, there's a lot of swamp.
Yeah. So, and there's a TV show, so if it's on TV, it's got to be real.
It's got to be real. It's like the internet. Awesome, man. Awesome. Yeah, I want to talk to you about a lot of different cool stuff that you did that you're involved with. But cool. You were involved past tense, correct? Or still are involved with Play and Trade?
Oh no, still am.
Still
actually getting ready to expand.
Awesome. So let's talk about Play and Trade. So that's a franchise, correct?
It was a franchise.
Okay.
So yeah, at the time when I entered it, about nine years ago. It was a franchise. It was going strong. It was actually one of the fastest growing franchises in the country.
Okay.
But then things turned around drastically, and then in January of 2015, the whole thing just kind of caved in and collapsed in.
Okay, so help me understand then. What's the story there? So it was going, and then it's still going, but it changed.
Well, it's no longer going now. So yeah, as I said, back about 9 years ago, there's advertisements for all over the place. If you looked in the top 10, the best franchises to go into, like it was consistently, in the top 10. And that's because the founder was still involved.
Okay.
And I feel bad because his name evades me. But it's been a long time. So, so what happened is when he retired and he left, he went to Florida and, doing his retirement thing. The company went through 3 different CEOs in the span of about 4 years.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's a bad thing. Red flags. 4 CEOs if you count him. He goes out and then there's 3 that.
And he had been there for a long time.
Well, he started it.
Okay.
It was his idea. Started out in California, I think.
Yeah. And just for our audience's education, and actually mine, I don't know a lot about it. What is a Play and Trade store?
I guess that would kind of help. Play and Trade, it's kind of like a liberal version of GameStop. Can I say that? Can I say that? Okay, it's like a liberal version of GameStop.
You can say whatever you want.
All right, cool. So we deal with like a more retro. We deal with everything. We do retro. Like your childhood is in my store. If any of your childhood was spent in games, it's at my store.
Yeah. I played a lot of Sonic the Hedgehog.
That's there. Atari's there. ColecoVision's there. Like Neo Geo's there. Like it's all there.
Yeah.
So that's what we are. We're a video game retail that just doesn't set boundaries, to what we accept. We take it all.
Very cool.
So anyway, that's the franchise.
Yeah. So you have Boulder Dash,
Boulder Dash.
That was Atari 800 XL. Do you remember the cartridges?
We may have it, honestly. Yeah. We have like a box of
actually
just Atari.
The first video game I ever played was on a cassette tape. You know what this? Yeah. Oh wow.
It's one of the ones where it was like a.
This is an Atari.
You put on the VHS.
No. This is an Atari where the drive was a tape.
Oh my God.
And you had to rewind and load the game from tape until you don't know about this.
No, what kind of? I've never.
It was an Atari. Yeah, it was an Atari, and you would load. So if you wanted to play a game, I grew up in Chile, and we didn't have like the latest and greatest. So Nintendo took a while to make it there.
Okay.
And you had to load the game from the tape. And you had to wait an hour before. So you had to plan ahead. Are we going to play in an hour? Yes. Okay. So load the game off the tape into the computer.
Oh, that's so interesting. I've never even heard of that.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to look that up.
Yeah.
What happens when you put this tape in? Like, how do you play?
It just loads information. It's the game, all the bits and everything on the tape.
Okay.
Just like a music.
But you just have to rewind it every time.
You have to play it into it. So that's how you get the information from the tape. And it has I guess that would be RAM that would store it.
Wow.
Yeah.
I've never even heard of that. That's crazy.
Wow. Okay. Well, in any case, so you do most vintage games other than
Atari. Yeah. Well, if someone brought it in, we take it though. Someone brought in something day before yesterday. Never heard of.
What was it?
Looked it up. It was A Coleco. It was called Head to Head Football, made by Coleco, and it was a standalone portable game.
Okay.
And it had no graphics. It was literally just dots. And you just playing like these little dots. I couldn't even tell what was going on. I couldn't tell
football, bro.
Well, I know what you would think, but I couldn't tell what dots were the football, what dots were it was all just the same dots, little dots that moving around. So we took it in, and now we have it like hanging up on the wall of just the wall of cool shit, because it's if we haven't seen it before, we don't want to necessarily not sell it to be jerks or dicks or anything, but it's just because it's part of like the museum, we have a museum going, and people come in and be like, oh man, that's cool. And if they want to try it out, we'll let them. We'll totally let them. But if they, if they want to buy it, like it's on eBay for like $15. So we tell them, hey, look, just go there, if you want to pick it up. But, we like to have it for a part of our museum, unless you get like duplicates or something like that. Yeah. But that was my first time seeing that. Never knew that existed.
Wow.
So I'm always learning about stuff.
So you still have the store today?
Oh, yeah.
And it's here in Lafayette?
Yes.
So what changed somewhere along the way? Something changed in the way that you said something caved in. So
the entire corporate caved in. I actually, whenever I signed up onto this, I kind of went in with like my own idea of like, this is what I want to do. Which when it comes to franchises, typically that's not how that works. Usually they're like, this is the formula. This is what works. Yeah. Take it, fly.
It's like a turnkey thing.
Exactly. And I have always liked to do things the hard way. Still haven't figured out why, but I do. Yeah. So I got the store, opened it up, and did the whole thing my way. And I never read emails from corporate. I distanced myself as far from them as I possibly could.
Yeah.
For no specific reason other than just because I like to be difficult with myself. And it actually wound up playing in my favor, because what I did notice is that the CEOs were cycling, and they kept trying to do all these like strange programs that are just like, man, none of this makes any sense.
Yeah.
So I just ran it like a game store, you know, and they were trying to run it like, I'm not even sure what they were trying to run, but clearly it didn't work.
Okay.
My store has outlasted 10 other stores in the state of Louisiana, Play and Trades, have opened and closed in the same time frame that mine has been open.
Wow.
And I'm getting ready to expand. So it's
Play and Trade is still around.
Well, they went from 750 stores globally. I think they're down to maybe 30 across the...
So are you technically still affiliated with them?
No, because the whole thing just dissolved. I'm sure someone owns the name somewhere, but they don't want the public to know that because they owe a lot of money to a lot of people. Corporation owes a lot of money.
But you still use a Play and Trade name.
I still use a Play and Trade name.
So I'm confused. All right, help me sort this out here, because it's
all
right. So we start if we start chronologically.
Yeah.
There's how many 700 stores?
750.
750 stores and big franchise.
Yes.
And
it's growing crazy.
And you get a turnkey package.
Correct.
Go Renegade.
Yes.
And then, but still pay them their tribute.
Well, I was.
You were.
I was until they collapsed.
And they collapsed. So the parent Play and Trade company
is no more.
They have
a website. It's a dead website. They have a phone number. It's a dead phone number. I have no way of getting in touch with anyone that used to be a part of corporate. Or
that is
if
fucking
there is
crazy.
It is absolutely nuts. And I get calls from like collection agencies being like, "You owe us money." I'm like, no. I'm not those people.
But you're still running with the name. Why did you not change it to Jeff's Video Game Emporium?
Because after it's been in a community for 9 years, like people like there's two major hurdles to starting a business, and it's the first 4 year, making it past the first 4 years, and then making it past the second 4 years. Once you make it past that 8-year mark, the second 4 years, you're good. You're set. Like you're established.
I'm going to be 8 years in September.
Yeah, cool.
Fingers crossed.
Perfect. Excellent. So yeah, it's just the name. Like people know the name. Like I've spent thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars in advertising. Yeah. My car has been wrapped.
I saw that.
Yeah, like the past 8.5 years.
You're not shy about the fact you're involved with Play and Trade.
No. So people know what it is, and I do plan on changing the name a couple years down the road when I'm going to open the second store.
Yeah.
Because I want to use that. I want to leverage the name because people know the name locally. So open the second store so that'll immediately be recognizable.
Yeah.
Wait 2 years, change the name for both.
Got it.
Make sure the public knows literally nothing has changed except for the name.
Yeah.
So right now I'm just leveraging it to kind of.
And just to we kind of wrap up that chapter,
Sure.
the corporate play and trade, it's basically like the corporate equivalent of like a haunted house right now. It's like nobody knows.
Yes. There's literally not a single way you can get in touch with them at all. Even the emails I had. They're
And
like,
how long ago did that collapse happen?
January of 2015.
So it's not that long ago.
No, just over 2 years. Yeah, just over 2 years.
And what was their communication with you when that happened?
There wasn't any.
Zero?
Like no, it was zero. It was
just
literally
ghosted.
they ghosted, and I didn't even realize it had happened because again I don't read their emails, and I'm not even sure if they sent out an email saying that. But like I started having customers that were coming. They're like, hey, yeah, we tried checking out the website and like nothing, and I was like, that's weird. So I check out the website, sure enough, nothing. And I just called the number just to be like, I wonder why. And they're like, disconnected. And I was like, okay. So then I called like another number and it was like, disconnected. And I was like,
that is fucking crazy. Can you get a hold of the original CEO? Ask him.
I don't remember his name.
Oh,
I mean, I'm sure if I did some digging, I could, and find out. But maybe, I don't know. Like, I don't know. Right. We weren't like buddy or anything,
Got it.
Yeah.
Cool. So you decided to continue your renegade ways. Mm-hmm. So you're like the Mad Max of this thing. You're just fucking running like a side civilization to this whole play it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, hell yeah.
Well, we'll get to the fact that you're a stuntman in a minute here, and we actually talk about that. Talk about that a little bit. But let's keep talking a little bit about the video game business a little bit. Tell me a little bit more. What makes a video game business unique? I mean, it's a very kind of a niche that has a lot of interest from segments of the population. But what's something most people don't know about it?
What makes video gaming unique is the way it's evolved. Now, if you look at entertainment, if you look at music is involved. Movies have evolved in a sense that you can hear them more clearly, you can see them better graphics, better CGI, newer instruments, stuff like that. And then you can look at like board games and card games, and you can see how they've evolved in play styles. Like new game ideas have come. And board games are addictive as hell, good ones, and so are card games. But something that video games has where it kind of trumps both is it's starting to transcend into your life. And what I mean by that is if you rewind back to the first game, which actually wasn't Pong, it was Tennis for Two.
Yeah.
It was Tennis for Two. And that used to be very basic.
You played it with the paddles, right?
Yeah, the paddles and stuff.
Yeah.
And as time goes on, like the way we play changes. So now we have VR, for example. It just came out, virtual reality, and you put the VR headset on. And have you experienced VR yet?
I did an early demo of Oculus Rift, but I haven't.
Yeah, I was kind of skeptical at first, and I tried it, and it is really fucking cool, and it is the next step of where games are going. And then beyond that, you have, with the assistance of phones and pads and tablets, you have augmented reality.
Yeah.
Which Pokemon Go was a massive success.
Sure.
And then kind of tanked in on itself a little bit because they needed some work. But anyway, then with augmented reality being worked into, games and stuff like that, you're just seeing games evolve into a way that you're never going to see board games, you're never going to see music, you're never going to see movies evolve into the level where it's eventually just, you're probably gonna waking up will be like a video game. Eventually have it like implanted in your head and shit. We're talking like 100 years down the line.
Yeah.
But
which gets to the whole question about whether or not you are currently in a simulation.
Exactly. And we're still trying to figure that out.
What do you think about that?
I think it's an interesting idea that I do not discount. I don't really discount. I'm open to the possibility of any of it being an actual thing. Is there a heaven, hell? I don't know. I'm not going to say no because I don't know. Is this a simulation? I'm not going to say yes. I'm not going to say no. All of it, all of the possibilities, the interdimensional stuff, it is all very interesting to me. And the biggest thing to me is if we ever get to find out what it actually is. So if we're in a simulation, the good news is we get continues, hopefully.
That's a really good way to think about it. I actually find that thinking of your life as a game has a tremendous positive effect on your happiness.
Yeah.
Because then you can, first of all, not take that shit that seriously.
Right.
And then kind of think like, okay, cool, this is a challenge, or this is a award, this is like a good, thing. And then, you can do that. Obviously, there's shit you got to take quote unquote seriously.
Right. You don't kill anyone.
Yeah.
Like, just
of course. Yeah. Well, that has consequences.
Right. Exactly.
And that's actually would be consistent with a gameplay dynamic.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I think it's interesting to think about it that way too.
Yeah.
Especially since you're in it, I wanted to get your take on it. But yeah, it is a little freaky to think about it gets like to the point where like you're gonna have a bunch of people like overweight and just eating crap, like sitting on their couch on like in an alternate reality where they're actually in great shape and in Aruba.
Yeah, like I don't know if you remember the movie WALL-E or if you saw the movie WALL-E, where they're in the future and everyone is just massively overweight. Like that's totally like that. I believe that's where we're headed. Like that's
really?
that's I really do. I really do. I think that's where we're gonna be in like 1,000 years. But. Yeah,
unless we get some I'm all about the post and pre-apocalyptic stuff. I mean, I think that there's possibility that a good chunk of humanity gets taken out by an asteroid, in which case survival and like you could get a partial reset.
Yeah, that would be interesting too. Just gotta wait and see.
Yeah, man. But just so our audience knows, it is 2 p.m. while we're taping that, and there are no substances involved in this conversation. So,
just water.
Yeah, we're just at this time, just going riffing off water. Cool. It doesn't sound like it was, like it sounds like you've survived the bullshit that happened with the corporate parents. So there's not a hell of a lot of stuff that you could have done differently in hindsight. If anything, it's kind of you pulled it off, right?
Yeah. I mean, the next thing to see if I can pull. Well, I have survived so far. The next wave, the next thing is will I be able to survive, everything going online now, Yeah. Everything's becoming digital. It used to be, oh gosh, I can't remember, maybe like 5%, 2% of the games that came out in stores you could download on Xbox 360 or PS3. Yeah. Now it's like upwards of like 20-25%.
That's high.
Yeah, and that trend's going to keep on growing. So I guess the real test will be able to see if I can survive that.
Yeah. What's your plan for that?
More paraphernalia is not the right word. What is it called? It's evading me. Just things like toys and like backpacks and just things, tangible things, that are merchandise that are related to like the video game universe and stuff like that. That you could order it off of Amazon, but you're gonna have to wait 2 days, 3 days, or you just go to the store right there, and then being able to trade stuff in. Yeah. Which they haven't been able to figure out how to do that digitally yet. And so we'll always have that for now slight edge.
Has there been any sort of a revival, kind of similar? So I'm an audio nerd. I collect records, and I have an 8-track player. I have a tape player and a reel-to-reel player. Cool. Have there been people who just kind of like, fuck all this online virtual reality thing? I just want to combine my 1986 NES console with my massive plasma TV and, play Mario. Oh, yeah,
no, that happens all the time. And it's really cool to see little kids come in that like dig it. Because you have 3 different kinds of kids. You have kids that are going to be raised on their iPads and iPhones. Yeah. And that's just what they're gonna do.
They're gone.
Then you have your little techie kids that come in. They like have the latest and greatest. I need my PS4. So you have those kids, and then you have these kids, and these kids are always cooler. They're always cooler. I don't know why, but they're always cooler. And they come in and they look for the retro stuff. Like they appreciate the Nintendo. They appreciate the Super Nintendo, the Sega Genesis, all that stuff. Yeah. These little kids, like 10 years old. Yeah. And they just prefer it. And so yeah, I mean, we definitely have them. There's fewer of them, but they're there, and then they will play that on their big TVs or projectors.
Yeah, I don't think I should do that sometime. I should play Street Fighter 2 on like an enormous plasma. I don't own a television. Oh, really?
I mean,
is it fun or is it?
No, yeah. Well, it's as fun as the game was. If it's aged well to you, it's. Unfortunately, the downside to TVs getting bigger is, especially with high def stuff.
Oh, you can see all the pixels.
And it becomes blurry now.
Oh shit!
Because it's trying to run. We're trying to run like a 16-bit console through a 4K television. Yeah.
So it used to there used to be no pixel there, so it took a shortcut and it looked like a smooth motion. But now
it's just blurring out.
Now they're pixel.
Everything looks blurry. Did you ever play the Nintendo 64 and notice how it was like kind of blurry? Okay, well the Nintendo 64 has always been kind of fuzzy. The graphics are always kind of fuzzy. But if you play any system on a modern day TV. If it's not HDMI compatible, it's gonna be fuzzy. Nintendo's gonna be fuzzy.
So you really want to do is play that in an old tube TV.
Yeah, CRT television. Actually, I got one right there behind that box.
Wow.
Just for that purpose.
That is cool. So that's wild. Yeah. That makes sense, I guess.
Yeah. The old.
So I guess if you're gonna play records and make them sound right, you're gonna play them to an old preamp. You can't put them. Yeah.
You know, like iTunes for the longest time, like their music quality just wasn't up to par with like CDs and stuff. You know.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing.
That's wild.
Yeah.
What are some of the odd? I mean, we already talked about so many odd and wacky things. But what are some of the odder, wackier things that you've seen in your line of business that you've run into, like characters or crazy people?
Oh. God, there's so many. It's really hard to think. Okay, crazy things that have happened. Recently we've had this elderly lady that came in and actually pinned one of my. This is a guy that works for me. He looks like Kurt Cobain, and she like apparently like pinned him against the wall. And was like confessing her love to him, and he's like he has like no idea who this woman is. He's like, "Whoa, this is too much. Like, if you need help with the game, I'll gladly help you with the game. Like, you gotta stop."
Do you want to play the quick?
Yeah, and then like apparently she left, and he left because he was freaked out, and she came back in bawling 30 minutes later, like bowing down, like being like, "Where is he?" So that's that stuff like that doesn't happen too often, but
it's hard. It's hard to be a video game store employee like that. You get people surrendering their love to you all the time.
Yeah, no, it really is. It really is kind of hard.
Yeah.
But they love it. They like it. And we've had some other crazy stuff happen, which like a guy stole an Xbox One. I chased him out to his car. I broke his windshield and his driver's side window. I have scars from punching through. I got.
You broke the windshield with your bare hands.
No, I had. Oh. Well, I had this knife.
Oh,
this big knife.
Let me see. Is this the actual knife?
This is the exact same kind of knife. I actually have the other one where this has been dulled out.
Holy shit! So this is. Let me see. So this is a facsimile, but it actually has this is designed to break windows.
Yeah. So I actually smashed out his windshield and his passenger side window.
Holy shit!
And got the Xbox back. And the cops came and everything because like people saw me chasing this guy out the parking lot, the parking lot, and then all of a sudden I'm like bleeding out and stuff.
Why do you not have the original knife? I mean, I would keep the original.
I do.
You don't use it.
It's in my room. Oh no, it's because this part's no good anymore. This is like flat now.
Oh,
like literally from just.
So it's a one-time use window breaker.
I used it 4 times.
You've broken 4 windows. All right. All right.
Well, 2 holes in the windshield.
Okay.
And then I had to hit his passenger side twice for it to shatter. So I hit it once, didn't shatter. Hit it again. And then 2 holes in the windshield.
Got it. And now the other one is
it worked so well
for posterity.
I got another one. Yeah, just in case.
Awesome. That's it. What kind of knife is that?
It's just a scary one, millispec.
That looks mildly terrifying.
Yeah.
Awesome. I think it qualifies as a wacky story.
Yeah,
I'll take that.
Okay.
Awesome. What would you say? I mean, you have such an interesting story of like starting as a part of a bigger company and then going renegade and now doing your own thing. What would you say is your number one lesson? I mean, a lot of our listeners are small business people and people are thinking about maybe starting a company. What would you say is your number one lesson that you've learned?
So you're saying my number one lesson learning on my ride so far?
Yeah, about small businesses.
2. There's 2.
Two of
There's 2 lessons. 1, learn your product before you get in. I made that mistake. The only retail experience I had before doing this was selling cars. There's a big difference between selling cars and selling video games. Now, I've always been a video game fanatic.
Yeah.
Ever since I was 6 years old. I'm 34 now. And I always knew I wanted to do something with games to make money somehow. And my parents, of course, I'm like a teenager telling my parents, like, I'm going to make money with video games. And I'm like, you don't know what you're talking about. And they're still kind of right.
They still tell you that.
So 2 things is really get to know how to operate. Like what I should have done is worked at a game store before opening a game store.
Sure.
Didn't do that. That cost me many tens of thousands of dollars in errors and trying to just figure out how it all works, especially since I went rogue from the beginning.
Yeah.
Because I didn't listen to corporate and all that stuff. So if get that experience first.
Okay.
Seems kind of like an obvious thing, but I wish I would have done that.
Yeah.
Second, you've got to put your customers first in a way that unless your business is somehow an overnight success, you've got to put your customers first in such a way that they aren't even expecting it. And here's what I mean by that. For example, Battlefield 3 came out 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay? And we were advertising, we're having a midnight launch for it. Midnight launch, Battlefield 3, all this stuff. And typically we get our inventory in on Fridays or Mondays to have it for the Monday night midnight release. And I had like 20 pre-orders and like people were going to be coming. And I had found out on the Saturday that my shipment wasn't coming in until Tuesday day. And I had been advertising on the radio and all this stuff. And like, so I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to do? So I was like, well, there's only one thing I can do. And I drove to Kansas on Monday. Sunday night. I drove up to Kansas to grab the inventory from Kansas on Monday to drive it back for the midnight launch.
Wow.
To make sure so like
how far? I mean, what Kansas is probably what, like 10 hours?
I think it took about 15.
15 each way?
I think it was about 15 each way. To where I had to go. Maybe like 13, 15 with like breaks and stuff like that.
Shit.
So yeah, 30 hours.
That makes my 3,300 miles so far across America look like nothing, man. I did that over 3 weeks. What's wrong?
But it's just you have to do stuff like that. Like I actually made it on Inside Edition because I'm actually on Inside Edition because of my customer service, because I went so far and beyond for one of my customers. Yeah. That Inside Edition found out about it. Yeah. And they flew me out to New York and they interviewed me, and I'm now on a regular segment on Inside Edition, like on national news, because like I tried so hard. I sold this phone to this guy on eBay and it wound up disappearing. And like I spent like, oh God, I think probably 8 straight days trying to track down his phone, like be on the phone at the post office. I had spent at one point in time, I was on hold, I think for like, it was like 4 hours. Yeah. And then they took me off hold and immediately hung up on me. Like, literally didn't even get to talk to anyone. That's happened to me before. Yeah, so, and that's actually how Inside Edition found out about it, because I was so pissed. I just made like a YouTube venting video, like, how the fuck? And that's how they saw it, and they pulled me to do it. But it's just like going, every customer comes in expecting a certain level of appreciation, or just being dealt with in a certain way. And when you take that and you go above that, I mean, you don't just create like a following, like you create a family. Yeah. And there are people that the first time they come into Plane Trade, they're like, I am never going anywhere else again. Okay. Ever. And you got to make them feel something. You got to make them feel that way.
Got it. And so I can see now why you'd be reticent to change the name if people would come to associate that. Yeah. Yeah. That's crazy. What's it like to do business in Lafayette? So do you what's your relationship with other small business owners and with the city?
It's really good. Actually, Lafayette's small town. How
many people live here?
I think it's about 110 in the city. Okay. And then if you cover like the parish, which for those of you that don't live in the South, it's the same. I don't know, what is the equivalent to a parish? Like in
county.
Counties. That's what it is.
But actually parish, I think, is, if I'm not mistaken, exclusive to Louisiana.
Yeah, I think it might be. It's
not actually the entire South.
So anyone who's outside of Louisiana, county, we call them parishes down here. So I think our parish is almost 500,000.
That's not small
for the parish. Yeah, no. Lafayette's kind of small. It's just one of those. It's the biggest little city.
Yeah, and there's a university here. And
it's actually very
the Raging Cajuns.
Prestigious Raging Cajuns.
ULL.
Yeah.
Oh, I know about it.
But as far as like the business, like with Lafayette, it just works really well because everyone here, it's small enough to where everyone knows everyone.
And the government's helpful with stuff.
They take their taxes. Yeah.
So
that's the only two. They don't give me any trouble.
in this game we play, death and taxes are the only two things that are certain, right? Unless you get continues.
Unless you get continues. That's true. That's true. And then you'll still pay taxes.
That's awesome. So let's briefly touch. You do a lot of other stuff, right? Too, right?
I do.
So you've probably been told you look a little bit like Paul Walker.
Oh my God, that is like I love it, and I love it too. He was my idol.
Because what's funny is that we were talking about before we started taping about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So I've been training Jiu-Jitsu for about 6 years now, and you were talking about how you just started. He was a brown belt in Jiu-Jitsu when he passed.
Oh really? Actually, I didn't know that.
Yep, he trained at Paragon down in Santa Barbara.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and also your car outside kind of looks like one of the cars from the Fast and the Furious.
Yeah. Well.
But you also do stunt work.
I do stunt driving.
What kind of stuff tell me more about that.
Well, it's First off, it's I've been racing cars since I was 21.
Okay.
And I say racing cars, nothing like not like NASCAR, but like you doing like road racing and autocross and stuff like that. You know. So after having done that as long as I have, I was like, oh, stunt driving. Like, why didn't I think of that before? This will be such an easy thing to transition to. And I'm not gonna lie, it wasn't difficult to transition to. Actually, stunt driving is not that hard, but it's not what you expect.
Okay.
So I think
I want answers to two questions.
Okay.
Why is stunt driving not that hard? Because it doesn't sound easy. And two is what did you expect and how was it different?
Well, okay, that can both be tied into the same answer. Actually.
Awesome.
So here you come off from a thing where you're doing a lot of road racing and you see like going fast, and then you see all these movies and everything looks like they're going fast, and 25 miles an hour.
That's stunt driving.
25 to 35 max.
Oh, man.
I mean, unless you're doing like a 360, it is majority of the stunts.
Yeah.
These 180s, these reverse 180s, all these like sliding in between car. You're like,
can you slide into a parallel parking spot?
Yes.
That is fucking cool.
Yes, I can.
How long did it take you to learn that?
Well, when you go to stunt driving training, they teach you like a myriad of things.
Yeah.
So I've been certified twice for my stage 1. I'm going to go back for my stage 2 this year. But so I've had 4 full days of so it's kind of sprinkled within there. So I can't really give you a definite answer, but I could probably teach you.
Yeah.
To do it.
In my truck, that's a top heavy truck.
Oh yeah, that's true. Not the truck. We won't do that.
Yeah. I'm not 100% sure that they would not flip.
Depending how fast you learn and how much you know already, anywhere between 30 minutes and maybe 2 hours.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Fuck, man. Maybe I'll come back here and pay you to teach me how to slide my car into the spot.
You don't even have to pay me, man. Just do it because it's fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And so that's another thing is like keeping up that training. Like you can't just go.
Yeah, that's like jujitsu, man.
Anywhere.
Just because you took jujitsu like 5 years ago, and if you stop training,
oh yeah,
it's all about muscle memory.
Well, the cool thing about jujitsu though is there's facilities you can go train at.
Yeah.
There's no facilities you can go train stunt driving
It's
at.
a little more difficult. We were talking about your relationship with your neighbors early. If you started stunt driving on the street, I'm sure.
They would slash my tires and tow my car and like put sugar in my gas tank.
At least. I mean, you were talking about shotguns and all kinds of shit.
Oh god,
too.
they're crazy. Yeah. I don't want them to hear this.
I don't think I'm highly doubtful that they're listeners of Small Business War Stories.
Yeah.
So.
Let's hope not.
That's crazy. Okay.
But yeah, so that is just the biggest thing that shocked me. Is 25 miles an hour is typically when most of these stunts are done at that speed.
But you probably get to see some pretty cool stuff and.
Yeah. I mean, well, it's cool and it's uncool at the same time because like when you see, there's some stuff you see and you're like, wow, that guy just really did that.
Yeah.
Like he just really hit that ramp and cleared these cars and like that's a really cool thing to see. But then you'll see like these other stunts that it's just like, that's it.
Yeah.
And then they take that and they edit it and they throw like these heavy engine sounds and like tires
You're
squealing.
getting to see how the sausage is made. Man.
Yeah, exactly. So it goes both ways. Sometimes you see something really cool.
Have you seen the Gymkhana videos with Ken Block?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. What do you think about those?
That dude has some serious skill.
Yeah. Can you do all that stuff?
Oh, no. To that degree, no.
No.
I mean, that's I mean, you have to live that.
Yeah.
You have to live that. And if I could live that, and I'm trying to slowly change my life so I can get to that level. But I mean, he has years and years and years.
Do you have that lever in your car that he uses? It's a handbrake. Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's a
high-powered
hydraulic, like a hydraulic.
You know Mitch Hedberg, right?
Like that. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So he has this joke that like the handbrake should be called "It make the car smell really funny" lever.
I haven't seen that, but
it
totally right.
doesn't actually fucking stop the car, I should have tried to deliver it like he did because his delivery was everything. But so it's got to be a special handbrake to be able to do.
Well, if you're drifting, if you're not drifting, I mean, you can literally just go pick up a car. Like you can go. I probably shouldn't say this, but I'm going to. Oh my God, here we go. Deepest darkest secrets revealed. I'll go like rent a car. Yeah. From like the airport, get like full insurance on it, and I'll go behind our Toys R Us at like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. Yeah. And I'll set up some cones. And if I'm renting a Mustang, then I'm practicing drifting, or I'll rent like a Toyota Yaris. Yeah. And you wouldn't think like, what are you gonna do in a Yaris? It's like, nah, dude, like you can stunt a Toyota Yaris.
I bet you can.
So you don't need any special handbrakes or anything like that. Now, if you're drifting, if you're into the drift life, you're gonna want that. You know, you want some beefed up like clutch and all that.
Yeah.
But just for like most stunt driving, like when a lot of people think stunt driving, a lot of things they think of is drifting. Yeah. Which I mean is very much a stunt.
Yeah.
But if you look at most stunts that happen on film and stuff, very little of it is actually drifting. Yeah. It's, the cop car that does that overslides that turn when he's chasing the bad guy. Right. And like the bobbing and the weaving through the traffic at, high speeds, which is really
25 miles an hour.
Yeah, like 30 miles an hour. And then like you'll have like your 180s and reverse 180s. So like drifting is actually, when it comes to car stunts, a very small percent. Yeah. Of the
Do most cars these days survive the stunts? Because I read that the Dukes of Hazzard, when they use those dog Chargers, Challenger Charger,
Charger,
Charger, that they would basically trash a car an episode with like all the stuff they would do.
Yeah, I mean, if you take a jump, if a car does a jump, it's gonna get damaged. Yeah, and they build it up to take the hit too because they want to protect as much as they can. Yeah. But I mean, just for some of these things, like it's just I mean, it's just gonna. In some cases, they'll do replicas, or they'll just get they'll have like the V8 version, for like the show, but like for the jump, they'll have like the V6 version, just because they don't want to, trash the more expensive.
Do you know how to repair cars? Do you repair your own stuff?
God, I would not call myself a mechanic. I mean, I can do some basics, spark plugs, brake pads, oil. But like, I mean, if you blow, if you throw a rod, you need to go see a mechanic.
Sounds good, man. And what other stuff are you involved in? You say you're involved in a bunch of other stuff.
Well, I'm an actor too.
So you have the good looks. So,
thank you. I appreciate that. So I do acting. My acting is actually really starting to kind of pick up some steam. Cool. And what's cool is being able to do an actor and a stunt driver.
Yeah, that's probably sells.
Yeah. So I actually last week just finished working on some things coming out called Rent a Ride. Okay. Probably won't be out for another 4 or 5 months. Yeah. But on that, I got to do a little bit of stunt driving and as one of the characters.
That's awesome.
And then there's Zombie Shark, which is a sci-fi original movie. I got to be an actor. Yeah. And a stunt driver and camera crew. Wow. So like being able to, you can't just be an actor anymore. If you started back when that was okay, you can. And if you hit the jackpot, you hit the jackpot. Yeah. But you really want to be as you want to sell yourself as much as possible. And some
multifaceted.
Yeah. So some people can act and dance. Yep. Some people can act, dance, and sing. They're called double threats, triple threats. Well, I can't sing for shit, and I can't dance for shit either. Yeah. I'm the kind of guy that when he starts dancing, everyone, all of my friends just like turn their back, like, oh Jesus, fuck Jeff, please stop right now.
Well, I'm the same way, except for I don't care.
So, but being able to be like, I'm a certified stunt driver, twice certified stunt driver, soon to be 3 times. Yeah. And an actor. Yeah. And I know what I'm doing for both.
Fuck, I kind of wish I'd rented a car instead of I drove my truck.
Dude, anytime. Free lessons. You get the rental, I'll teach you for free.
All right. Awesome. So, which of course I would never do because I'm a responsible
adult. Right. This is all theoretical. That?
Hertz and Avis, I'm a responsible fucking adult.
Right. Hypothetical situation that will never happen.
Yeah, for entertainment purposes only. This is an entertainment show.
Yeah, please don't do this. Yeah.
Sounds good. Where can people find you? So what's the address of your shop, and do you have a web address? And
well, we're on the Facebooks. Yeah. Because there is still a actual plane trade website. Yeah. It's just it's there, but it's like it doesn't. You can't do anything with it. Any button you click is like we're under.
Are you on Instagram?
Yeah, we have an Instagram, and we're like I said, Plane Trade Facebook, but no website. Yeah. But I mean, you can find us. We're the only plane trade in Lafayette. Yeah. So just. I'm not going to tell you the address because, no one really is from Lafayette. But if you just type Play in Trade.
Yeah. Do you sell outside of Lafayette?
On eBay.
On eBay.
We do. And okay. I've had some customers that, we'd have something like, hey, if I pay over the phone, will you ship it to me? I won't let my employees take that payment and ship it, but I will do it. If you get in touch with me and we have something you really want, I'll do
it. Awesome. Cool. So you just started jiu-jitsu how long ago?
About November.
So okay, 4 months ago. So
Yeah.
I'll trade you. I mean, I could probably teach you a couple of jiu-jitsu things. You can teach me some crazy car shit.
I am absolutely down for that.
Well, thank you so much for sitting down with me, Jeff.
You.
You're the man.
Thank you.
All right, take care.
All right, you too.
Thank you for listening to Small Business War Stories. If you enjoy the show, share it with a friend, or you can subscribe on iTunes, Stitcher, or on our blog at blog.proven.com. If you have an idea for us, we'd love to hear it. Please email us at podcast@proven.com. See you next time. Small Business War Stories. Small businesses are the soul of America. And this is where they tell their stories. I am your host, Pablo Fuentes.